Yeah, so I'm the middleware guy for Canada. Excuse me for the French accent. Actually, let me present my team here, which is in the room. Doug French, who's cover FSI and telcos, and the Wolfcheck there, and Salim, who's the solution architect, and Martin Sauvé as well. It's probably outside the room right now. So, so we run middleware for Canada, and don't hesitate to come to us to discuss your challenges and projects you have right now. It would be a pleasure to have the conversation. All right, excellent. So who drives a Tesla here in the room? Raise your hand. All right. Now, there's usually only one guy or two. Who had the opportunity to test drive one? Awesome. Excellent. 2, 3. Excellent. So you guys are going to be with me on that. You know, driving a Tesla, it's really special. And I don't talk here the fact that it's an electric vehicle and it doesn't need gas to run, but all the innovation in the car. Think about the insane mode, which is like, you know, getting really fast in like 2 or 3 seconds like that. The autopilot, you know, so self-driving capacity of the car, and all the over-the-air software updates, you know, that you can have from the LTE network connections that you have on the car. Or even the battery management system, you know, which is the best in the industry. And by the way, I'm not paid by Tesla, right away. So, you know, and like each time you're having a software update, like your range just got like 20, 30 kilometers more. You know, how these guys are doing that, right? But think about it. What is a Tesla? It's 4 wheels, 1 steering wheel, a huge battery, and one big iPad. You know? Yeah, so like the dashboard of a Tesla, it's a huge touchscreen, right? And that's going to benefit the driver or the owner of the car through all the life cycle of the car to benefit from the latest innovations, or if it's a software innovations, or like the bug fixes and the latest and greatest, you know? Think about that, you know, like it used to take half a day to build a car. Henry Ford put that down to 2 hours and a half with the assembly line. But for like 100 years, the evolution in innovation in cars was really depending on retooling the manufacturing plants, you know, to be able to get innovation. So it was really like increasing in a pace of a turtle, if you allow me the expression. And now Tesla is coming with more or less a platform for innovation, a platform for software, basically, so it can innovate, right? So it's really disruptive in the car industry. They are setting new standards in that industry, and what customers loves it. They embrace it, they like it. Right now, it's really a niche market, but they are coming in 2 years with the Model 3. In the $35,000 US. They already have 500,000 people who spend $1,000 to buy that car. Name me another car manufacturer that have already that booked in their you know, for the next 2-3 years. You know, I think that Chrysler, Ford, and GM would dream to combine and have 500,000 cars, electric cars sold by 2020. So they are really transforming that, you know. So how the competition is going to react to that? They're going to adapt, or they're going to, you know, fail, basically, or niche, right? So that's the digital transformation. You know, and like the Tesla example, it's one thing, you know, and we had the Airbnb and Apple Pay, and like in every vertical, in every industry, there's disruptors right now. Philip told about the, you know, being disrupted, or, you know, be the disruptor, while customers are embracing those disruptions, right? And business needs to adapt to that. And the big trigger to that is software. That's the big difference. So that's a quote from the CIO of Ford Motors, who recently, actually, they are really embracing it. And if you go to that example and read that article, you're going to see that, I mean, they are talking about like providing drivers with an application where they can, you know, once it's parked during the day and they don't use a car, they can rent the car to somebody else. So let me think about it. autopilot, application to rent my car. So I'm gonna have my car driving me to the office in the morning, and gonna go do some Uber run during the day and get me back after that. So this is where we're going. It's really changing the way we do business, changing the way the customers are interacting and so on, right? So yeah, speed, it's revenue, right? As quickest as possible, you can react to a disruption or get into the market with new products. More faster you'll be able to capitalize on that and make sure that you're going to have a good marketplace in that industry. So what does it take to win? Of course, speed, I just told it. You need user experience. You need to make sure that put your user, which is the employees or the customers or partners in the middle of the solution. Integration, right? So to be able to provide a good user experience, you need to be able to integrate all the different applications that you have already in the enterprises that needs to work together. Is it normal that when you call your credit card, which is aligned with your bank, that these guys doesn't do your address change when you have a mortgage with them and you just renew for a new house? It's like we need to integrate everything. Cost efficiency, right? So adopting open source technologies, it's a good way to adopt that to achieve that, the efficiency. But again, it needs to be different. Some aspects needs to be really different. Process, architecture, and platforms needs to change dramatically, right? So in terms of the process, DevOps, I think that this morning we spoke a lot about DevOps. Go on the Glassdoor and look for Tesla and DevOps and look at all the job offers they have. Then try Chrysler and DevOps, you're gonna hear the flies, flying. Agile, so like DevOps is the application of Agile. So whether waterfalls where you're gonna take 18 months to develop something. We had one of our customers this morning that they were adopting that, and being able to create smaller iterations of your software, and and getting there. Citizen developers. So that's interesting. It's enabling line of business or business business users to be able to collaborate and develop softwares. Like Salesforce is a good example of that. That you can create work on the logic of the applications without having any skills in software development, right? So we see a lot of that, and to be able to react more quickly on the market, having our line of business being able to interact more quickly on the software and make quicker decisions. That's a way to doing it. Architecture side needs to be API centric. Because the APIs help you to abstract the complexity of the language of the application. You have all the applications being able to be more integrated and talk to each other. It needs to be user first. So always think as the user when you create the applications, and always think as mobile, as natively, and have a really good strategy on mobility at first when you develop the architecture. And microservices. We touched a little bit about microservices. So what is it exactly, microservices? There's no real definition of what is a microservices out there. If you look at Martin Fowler, by example, it's a really good speaker, and he's been trying to put together some definitions. But there's some common patterns about microservices, which is really breaking down the applications. So one small applications deliver one services in the whole type of applications, right? So it's really about making sure that all these smaller services have their own roadmaps of life cycle of deploying. They have their own set of data source independently. They use different languages, so it's really using the good tool for the good job, right? And one key aspect of a microservices, it's are you able to upgrade one component or one services without impacting the rest of your application? If you can achieve that, you have an architecture that looks like a microservices. Versus monolithic, where you cannot really upgrade only one component or scale only one component without impacting the rest of the applications. So like Monolithic is really large and complex, and it's really like a breakthrough innovation. Leverage microservices. So and of course the platform. So the platform needs to be cloud ready. Philippe told us a little bit more about OpenStack, which is a really good way to do that. But sitting on the application level, you need middleware services that are going to be lightweight and ready for the cloud. You need a platform that's going to be able to manage the life cycle, because like working in microservices and having to scale different roadmap of these containers, you're going to increase the complexity again on your application. You need a platform to be able to manage all that. And again, for the user experience, you need to have a strategy around mobility for that, definitely. So yes, Red Hat can help. That's my big step here. OpenShift, it's our cloud-based DevOps platform, right? So what is it? It's a platform where you're going to have your developers concentrating on what they do the best, which is coding. Coding in multiple languages, not only Java, but like Python, PHP, Ruby, Python, and so on. I was in a hackathon recently, and over 15 teams developing softwares. Guess how many applications was written in Java? 10, 5, 6, 0. 0 application. All other languages, right? So like these new type of developers that's coming in, and again, it's really leveraging the good tool for the right job, right? OpenShift Cummings can leverage our JBoss middleware services. That's gonna bring a really enterprise-grade experience to your microservices applications. And the operation teams will really rely on OpenShift because of the security that can provide the platform, because it's based on RHEL, on Linux as well. So all the security aspect, and it's going to be able to scale out really, on a secure fashion, right? So OpenShift, I'm talking about security. OpenShift is a container-based container management platform. So this is a Forrester study about container adoptions, and from customers that started to work with containers. And that's the three main concerns that customers have, so security, integration, and management. So having a platform to manage containers is one thing, but you need to be able to consider those three things, right? So as a container and orchestration platform, basically OpenShift is based on RHEL, so who's on Linux? So who's the largest Linux company? It's Red Hat, right? So we are really well positioned to help you guys to create that, right? So this, and as the largest open source company, we have to set standards and drive standards in the industry, right? And one of the major standards that we are driving is the adoption of a container format, right? So Docker is the container format that we are following. We are contributor to the Docker project. So the image of the container will allow you to really, this aspect of deploying really quickly containers and application, that's going to provide you that. And the portability of the application between whatever is on private cloud, on premises, on the public cloud, standardize on one standard image format for containers is the way to doing it. Third point is orchestration, right? We talk about container sprawl. Kubernetes is the orchestration engine that's coming from Google, right? So Google open sourced it, and basically like everything at Google works with Kubernetes. Everything is containerized. If you have a Gmail or whatever, Google Docs or any search engine, it's all run on containers and orchestrated by Kubernetes. So what is it? It's really an engine that's going to identify a set of containers as one application. And that will trigger if one component needs to scale. By example, if you have an e-commerce website it's Black Friday, and your demands just increase like 10,000 times. That's Kubernetes in the back that will orchestrate all the deployments of new containers on whether it's on AWS or like on OpenStack or on additional servers. It's the glue between all the containers as well. So connecting all the APIs between the microservices, that's or Kubernetes that will orchestrate that in the back end, right? So to truly deliver a microservices application, you have that, right? One other thing about the Linux foundation of containers, it's security, right? So we got it secure because of RHEL, because of SE Linux, and other functionalities that we're providing in RHEL, which is RHEL Atomic for OpenShift. So it's really a more optimized version of RHEL. That allows you to create and spin containers more quickly, more fastly, right? So transition to cloud. So microservices is cool. This is where we're going. I think that, by the way, raise your hand, who tried or like started some projects in DevOps and microservices in the room? Awesome, excellent. I'm glad to hear that. So it's one thing to start doing that, but you probably already have a stack or a stack of Java applications, a roadmap for those applications. And those applications will not go anywhere from now, right? So what can you do for that? Well, OpenShift actually is built for Mode 2 type of applications, but also traditional applications, right? And EAP, so Red Hat JBoss Enterprise Application Platform, which is a Java certified Java server, basically, Java EE server, and is a top leader in the market, actually right now, is a good platform to host your Java application and migrate them to the cloud, right? So it's lightweight. You can, spin up the core capacities in less than 5 seconds, and exactly, and it's reoriented developer productivity, right? So just a you see a study on usage of JBoss EAP. 70% of more application lost per year, reduction in developer hours per applications of 35%. But I think that the return on investment, 500%, speaks from itself, right? Now in the version set, and that's going to be announced in the summit next week, or if you are like JBoss customers in the room, you can already benefit from that, which is a core services collection. So right now with JBoss, we are delivering it with this core services collection, which is support for Apache servers and GSVC, but the big thing here is API man and single sign-on. So API man is really the API gateways, so that's available with all the JBoss products now, and single sign-on, of course. So, and with a ratio of 1:1. So if you have 16 cores, you can have 16 cores as well to leverage core collections. So it's a user advantage because most of these services with other Java application platform providers, you have to, with other providers, you have to pay for those services. So Cisco is a company we help transform, digitally transform using OpenShift and JBoss. Now they have over 170 applications running on EAP on OpenShift. So, and they are able to get to the market faster and react more quickly. Now, connecting application data and services. I talk about integration, right? So Red Hat Fuse, it's our lightweight integration platform, and this is major, So Fuse is based on Apache Camel, which is a really popular project, and Camel basically identified the EIP, so enterprise integration patterns in the enterprise, right? So Fuse is coming with already 200 connectors ready to be deployed. Or I connect my Salesforce to my Oracle systems. Actually, Red Hat is a huge customer of our own products, where we had this paradigm where we have our Oracle systems in the back end, and we have our Salesforce for the and we have we tried to find a solution, and actually that's our integration platform. So they call it an ESB, but call it really a cloud, so a cloud integration platform as well, because if you look at developing microservices, Fuse services basically will be able to provide you this microservices integration experience, basically. So another white paper on utilization of Fuse. And I think that, if you can think something about this slide, it's really about cost savings, but bringing you some more capabilities, more flexibility, and not be stuck in one paradigm, but more open, right? And be able to integrate, multiple data sources with multiple applications. Think about IoT. So Brian was talking about IoT. So integration of all these devices, POS systems, is all going through an integration platform, right? So Vodafone is one of our customers that we help transform themselves using Fuse. So they leverage Fuse actually to expose their core capacities to partners. So basically, they had lots of pressures from traditional competitors, but also new competitors in the market. Think about the WhatsApp, by example, who, like teenagers and millennials can everybody, mostly everybody, but I think that it's more millennials that using WhatsApp. But they can leverage, so it's kind of over the internet messaging capacities, so using that, they don't use SMS and text messaging, right? So for them, it's a big struggle and loss in revenue. So using Fuse, they can expose their APIs to partners that can develop applications so they can compete against those WhatsApp of this world. Automate processes, right? So so I said earlier, citizen developers, so being able to abstract the process and the rules from the complexity of the application and allow business users or line of business to be able to react more quickly and take better decisions to what's happening in the market, right? So BPM suite, which is including BRMS and complex event processing, allows you to do that, right? So just by example, in the financial sector, there's a lot of use cases regarding complex event processing when you can have feeds coming from Twitter, from the market, with other multiple factors and combine that all together and providing a dashboard to take more decisions, better decisions and more quickly, right? So Real Inc., we spoke about PTC earlier. So Real Inc. is another company that we help transform using BPM. Think about these guys. They have all the locomotive, the trains, the fuel, the weather, the stock they are carrying, multitude of data source that they need to manage and to take better decisions. So they are leveraging actually BPM to optimize basically their decision processing engine to do that. Another example, think about logistics and transportation. One of the largest U.S. Logistic carrier are leveraging this type of services to save costs. So think about, they say that if they can save 1 hour per driver per day, for them it's $50 million of savings per year. And they're going to do that using BPM as well. So mobile, we spoke a lot about that this morning, right? So mobile application platform from Red Hat, which is now since OpenShift 3.3, available as a services on OpenShift, right? So fully integration of your mobility with your backend systems, managing the life cycle of the mobile application, leveraging all the framework of software development, coding it once and deploying it all. So that's the great value of mobile application. But how does it integrate all each other, right? So I spoke about Fuse, I spoke about BPM, mobile application, integration in the backend system, all managed through OpenShift and through integration with your legacy type of system of records. So things coming to get all together. And that's kind of a use case where I spoke about this logistic company where they have an integration, they're providing new type of applications to their drivers, right? And all that needs to be integrated. They need to take better decisions in real time through BPM and integrate through the backend system using Fuse, right? So all these components are coming together. So DAA, which is the Dublin Airport, is one of the customers we help transform their mobility aspect. And now using mobile application platform, they are able to provide, new type of services to their customers, but also their employees. It's like, and like, who travel a lot, you have like tools, you have like, flight deck and other type of application. And you look at employees in airports and like airlines, they have less information that you already have, right? So it's like providing them tools so they can be provide a better customer experience to the travelers that passing that 70,000 passengers that passing by that airport per day, right? So Red Hat brings it all together, right? So I like that slide because it's really summarizing everything together. And we had the presentation with Corey talking about services. I have me in the room, Doug, and in the middleware team. Don't hesitate to come to us over lunch and discuss your challenges that you already have. If you guys that started to work on microservices and DevOps opportunities, I'd like to hear more about it. What's your success? What's your struggling, and so on. Come to us and discuss that, right? And my last slide is like, who do you want to be? And I'm not paid by Tesla, and I like Volkswagen, but like, do you want to be the disruptor or the guys that are disrupt and that trying to do something new with something that is pretty old? So, it's my closing line. So thank you very much. And on that note, have a good lunch.
Thank you. Thank you, man.